Hello, everybody. Welcome one more time to Reverse Engineer Your Mindset Conversations. I'm super excited today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Those that are going to be connecting. Thank you so much for continue supporting us in this particular day. I have someone special, and a dear friend of mine, and I'm just really excited because touching a topic that myself I love it, and it's something that got me into what I'm doing now, which is the self discovery. But before any of that, Jana, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Omar. I have been looking forward to this, and I'm really excited how this is going to work out.
Excellent. No, this is it. Thank you so much for being here. How are you? How's everything with you?
I'm good. I'm maybe a little bit tired because it's a little bit late in Germany, right? It's 11 p.m. This is
Oh, wow.
not necessarily my time to be in front of the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah,
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 but
yeah, yeah.
besides that, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. There you go. There's we have Julie's here. Thank you so much for being here, Julie.
Hi,
Hello.
Julie.
Yeah, there you go. Do you know Julie? Julie, she's part of
No.
the no, she's part of the school. She graduated too, so she's another graduate from here. So it's really excited. And I have someone really. I'm excited to show you this because this is really Georgina. Oh my God! Thank you
Oh,
so much for being here. Oh my God, this is exciting. How are you, Georgie? It's been a
this is
while. It's been a while. It's been a while since I haven't talked to Georgie, but she's another student from the school, and really excited to have you here. But let's dive into it. And let's dive into it. But before anything, I wanna start by asking you, who's Jana?
who's Jana? That's
Who's
a good
Jana?
question sometimes. And meanwhile, I say Jana is in the middle of her life and looking back
Mm,
on, I would say, up to 20 years of kind of a journey of discovering my identity.
mm,
And she is a woman that loves to work with people on finding out about their bricks and pieces of identity from the past as well, to put it together as a puzzle. Because it
mhm,
took me time to put my puzzle together as well. So I would say Jana loves to puzzle with the important aspects of life
mhm,
and to build the picture and the puzzle that makes sense. And my puzzle started to make sense when I let go of my job in my former career. I left my corporate life after 18 years. And from there, I needed to kind of find out about my true identity. And I could hear it calling because it always told me, "You're in the wrong place there, mate. Listen to me. This is not who you are and where you need to be." And I thought, yeah, okay, I kind of
yeah,
get it, but what now?
yeah.
And
Mhm,
so after that, I needed to find my identity. I know now that Jana is a person whose purpose it is to support people in finding their purpose and find consciously in conscious ways finding the important bricks and pieces of life so that it makes sense and that we find out our reason for being.
mhm. This is pretty awesome. I love the fact that you described your journey of self discovery into a puzzle because you touching something and trying to put pieces together, and obviously you have experienced so much, 18 years in a corporate world, and now you're going into this uh, journey of coaching. How do you make the shift? What is it that Jana was like? I got to do the shift. You obviously speak about like I something I can hear like calling us like that little voice, but what was it?
Well, honestly, it was not one clear aha moment that told
Mhm.
me, "Oh, hi, Deepika. So nice to see you there. So good to see you here." Um, so it was not like there was not this one aha moment that told me, that's how it works. It was
Mhm.
more for a lot of years. It was like try fail, try again, fail better, getting closer to what truly was my passion and my purpose. And I kind of knew it was about communication and people. And I tried a lot of different jobs in my corporate life. And it was always like trying something new. And this was, nah, that's not it. Nah, that's not it. And then I made my first coaching training or education in 2011 and 12. And that was the first click that I thought, look at that. That's connecting. And then it still took me time, really a lot of time, to be brave enough to make that step and to leave in a company. Because I was kind of, I had an idea of something, but I didn't have a clear picture or vision, right? And so honestly, it was a feeling of also pain that made me decide for leave my corporate life, because I kind of felt so uncomfortable in there, right? I tried out a lot of things, and again I came to that point of thinking, this doesn't make too much sense to me. And so in 2016, I took a break of 3 months, and traveled through New Zealand and Australia. And I found a lot of answers on that journey. So this was the first time that Jana and me were just traveling on our own, right? And I started to make decisions differently from before, and wondered, oh, wow, why do I do this decision this way right now? I normally would have done it differently. So this is where I started unfolding and discovering. But after being back in Germany, I still wasn't brave enough to go. So I needed 2 more years of trying and suffering. Sounds like a drama, but feeling uncomfortable and feeling more pain, because before I got to this point of, no, I need to go. I need to cut my way back. So I need to quit, though I'm not sure yet how it's going to be like. So the aspect, honestly, to me was not a clear, this is my vision, that's where I'm going to. It was more this feeling of, this is simply not me and I can't do it any longer. That's why I decided to go.
This is really amazing. I mean, it's fascinating. I find it fascinating because how many people? Well, I can relate because I move on from my, you can call it corporate. It's not a corporate sales department into the personal training. That was my passion. I found my passion and I move on into it. So I can relate, like feeling not brave enough. But when I decided to do, I just didn't look back. But it's so interesting to me that you obviously went into trouble and you experienced something different, and you're like, what is this? And something that was triggering. Then you experienced 10 years ago or so about the coaching. You did your first program. You're like, oh, this is different. I kind of like this. But then decide to go back. And how many of us like try something and we know it's calling us, and we just not brave enough? Why? I'm really intrigued. Why did Jana decide to go back and stay another 2 years, you say, into that? And because it's that comfort zone, right? That we feel like, oh, like security sometimes. It's this, for me, it was the security. Like, I don't want to leave. I don't think it's the right. And it was the noise, because I heard them all. You're gonna fail. You don't know what you're doing. You're stupid. You make you everything. And it was from the people that it was closest to me. So it was even more harder for me to make that decision. But I want to hear from your side, because you experienced the both sides, but still decided to go back and explore more.
Yeah, because it was still that I went back because I experienced something new, and that felt really, really great. But I still couldn't unfold a vision from that, right? Because there were new bricks and pieces, new insights, but so far I could not put together the whole puzzle to understand from there how my vision is going to look like, where I want to go, because where I want to go towards my true direction. Because what I didn't want to do was going in the wrong direction. So this is why it kind of I didn't have a better plan than, let's say, going back and see how I work it out from there, right?
Yeah.
And so this is something, and I made, like, I'm trained change manager as well, and there is something really, really interesting about change. There are separate aspects people need to change, and one is a pain or an urge to change. So you need to have a dissatisfaction, and it needs to be high enough. But you also need something you want to develop forward to. If you don't see that, that is way more uncomfortable than staying in comfort zone, right? And there is a misunderstanding around comfort zone because it's not always cozy in there. It's, as you say, it's safe, but doesn't mean that you don't suffer in comfort zone. You can suffer there very, very, very well.
It doesn't mean yeah, exactly. You can, and the thing is, like, I think it's just that we don't notice because we feel so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like we in the zone, right? You feel something that you're familiar, that you know that it's, it's good. I like this, but for me, I value a trail. I'm always aiming for a trail, and it's that trail that gets me like, oh, I like this. Sometimes it gets me so much trouble. It's not even funny. But sometimes it's like, oh wow, I didn't know. I'm like, I go there, right? But it's just really, really interesting. Now you mentioned you obviously experienced that. What happened? Now I wanna go back. What happened in that trip? What is it that you experience?
Yeah.
What was that ecstasy that you like, oh, I like this? Yeah, it wasn't powerful enough, but you experienced something, and I'm really intrigued. Like, what is it that you experienced in those 2 3 months that you were traveling?
Yeah. What I experienced is that if you start traveling on your own, you change the way you look at things. As I said, it started with me doing little decisions differently from how I would have done them normally. And I also, because, I was traveling on my own. Of course, I met a lot of wonderful people there, but in general, I did a lot of traveling on my own. And so I started testing out my boundaries as well, right? It was this, okay, I can just try whether I'm going to be successful on that hike or not. There's nobody there who's going to see me fail or not fail. It's this, it was kind of a safe space for exploring my boundaries and actually stepping across them. I can remember there was one day I was doing a hike in the Marlborough Sounds in New Zealand, and it was a hike up to a very steep one. And then suddenly on one side there was a cave. I could see that there was the entry of a cave. And I saw that entry and I got this tension in my gut feeling, right? And I saw the entry and I went by, I passed it. And then I stopped and I said, hold on, why did you go on that journey? You did not go on that journey because you wanted to discover more. You wanted to explore yourself more. So what was that feeling, this uncomfortable feeling you just felt, and that made you pass by that cave even faster, right? So there was also the possibility to get aware of this feeling and me speeding up, right? Because I was alone. If you're with other people, you're chatting, you're maybe focused on getting where you want to go, but this was not. And so I went back and I really went deep into my uncomfortable feeling. And I thought, okay, this is New Zealand, right? There's not going to wait a beer uh, for you, or a wolf, or nothing can be in there that kills you. So find your way in there. And I really, really consciously, step by step, went into that cave. And I felt this tightness. And I did 2 or 3 more steps. And I could see the light became darker behind me, and it was kind of narrow, and it felt narrow, but I thought, okay, I made it until here, so I can make it a little further. And I will interrupt the story here because it's getting too long. But what happened is I went to the end of the cave and turned around and then went back again and out of that cave. And so this was, in the moment I came out of that cave, I was so amazed and proud of myself, right? And this is the stepping out of the comfort zone, challenging you and getting aware of this feeling of self-confidence that comes from there. And this is what I gained on the journey, a lot of self-confidence. And because it was such a long journey and self-confidence was growing, and also the freedom and the awareness of what I really want to decide, there was something interesting happening. In the first weeks, in a lot of places or situations, I kind of went with the situation and whatever happened in a way of, okay, yeah, let's do that. It was more a bit of with a bit tension. And after some more weeks, it was like, okay, I can give into that. Like, I can go with that. And after even more weeks, it was like surrendering. It was like, yeah, let's go. Let's do that. And when you are in that flow, this is crazy how much life is on your side. It is absolutely crazy. If you're in that flow, then life is only playing to your cards. And this is what I got aware of on that journey.
This is really, really incredible. Thank you for telling us that story. And I wanna, obviously there's a lot that that I want to talk about it. But before I dive into it, Georgie says maybe not all the necessary lessons were learned yet, and I truly believe that. It's just that you explored, you went back, and then you just went back to this. It's not the same; it's just different, right? But you went to something familiar. You just like we're trying to really cope with the situation. And Julie says to start from within. Totally love it, which is it's there. What I wanna stop. You obviously went into this cave,
Mm-hmm.
and you are very aware. And one thing that fascinates me is the fact that you really, really, really try to listen to yourself.
I did.
And to get to that self awareness is not that easy, because lots of people is a lot of us are afraid to even have a talk with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When we even afraid to put ourselves in the mirror and say beautiful things about us in the mirror, and having that conversation, that awareness, myself, I'm like, I had so many great conversations with myself, and I just like sometimes keep it to myself, and sometimes, like those conversations, like make those are the things that are happening actually. But you obviously start talking to yourself, like you only mentioned, start going within. What was it that you were craving? You were craving obviously something, but what was it that you were craving?
You mean on the journey, or what I was
On the
craving that
journey,
made me go
on
on
the
the
journey.
journey?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What was it that you were craving to go in that journey?
Mm-hmm.
Because you obviously already tried something,
Mm-hmm.
right? You were trying to explore. You took into this trip of 2 months
Mm-hmm.
of exploring, and then you dive into it
Yeah.
without even questioning it.
Mm.
And even when you, like, for example, in this the cave, the example that you gave us, you pass it, but then you went back.
Yeah. It happened. I did it. It's very true. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Now that you're asking, I never thought about it that deeply, but what I can see now is that you're a good coach because you're asking good questions, but that's not the answer. What I can see now is that I went on this journey because I wanted to get out of the treadmill for some distance, some freedom, and for gaining clarity from there. Because what I tried before was always external again, right? I saw a new job and I thought, okay, this is about people and about communication. This is going to be the right thing. And I tried it and I failed. Well, not failed, because failure is negative. It was, I again got aware of, no, this is not it as well, right? And in the end, it all brought me to the point where I did my first coaching training, which was the first aha moment. So
Mhm.
there was no real failure, but it was not, let's say, it was not the fast track to get where I want to go. It was
Yeah.
externally orientated. And going on this journey was like, I really well, first of all, I really wanted to spend some time abroad in a longer period of time because I never did. And something inside of me just wanted to do that. And there was this wish of having a time out from everything that is occupying me in everyday life and
Yeah.
is influencing me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This is really awesome. Now, fast forward. You're here in this journey,
Yeah.
and you are obviously deep into the coaching, right? What was it that it really pushed you through past to pass through that curiosity? Let's call it curiosity,
Mhm.
because you already explored it. You know, like, oh, this is good, but now you are completely immersed into it, right? What was it like? It was just like, ah, you know, I'm gonna dive into it.
Mhm. What I would say is, this is awesome. Thank you, Deepika. And it's encouraging because it's not necessarily easy to talk about these things because they have to do with not being straightforward all the time, right? But for me, it's important to be honest because I know that there are so many people out there that, well, are on the journey or on the search as well, or feel like being on the
Yeah.
search. So what shift my drift, what I would say is,
Mhm.
um, I knew when I did the first coaching training or education, I was aware of this is something for me. I like that. And a year after I finished or graduated, I tried to coach a friend of mine and she was very upset and she told me things like, well, I can see you trying this coaching stuff here, but it doesn't work. And so I was not confident enough to not take this too personal. It hit me quite hard. And I still was in basic beliefs telling me, see, you're not enough. You're not enough. But I wasn't aware of these beliefs, right? Because in my first coaching education, which was a good one, but it was at the time where coaching was not yet so deep into main beliefs, into blockings that come from this type of beliefs. And I
Mm.
wasn't aware of my own blockings there. And then again and again, I had good coaching sessions within the years with people. But due to that experience with this friend of mine, I was so convinced that I'm not good at that. Though I had good discussions which unfolded in very good coaching, but there was still this memory. And then I had I had some profound experiences with friends of mine in Australia in 2018 that really, really said thank you to me in ways of, thank you, you really helped me over my fears. What you're doing here is so, so profound for my life that I
Mhm.
thought, hold on, if this person says this is profound to her life, so there is more than this one reality that sticks in my head with, you're not enough, right? And this was the first time that I thought, and I am enough because it's my decision. And there are other people out there saying that I make a difference here. And so what I'm giving there is making a difference. And so it is my purpose to make a difference. And
Mhm.
it's my, well, duty is the wrong word, but knowing that this is not only how I want to serve, because it felt like this, but how people now resonate with me that I am serving this way. This changed the things. And that's where I started to know that, where I started to gain this awareness and the clarity and the self-confidence that this is my way.
This is really awesome. It's really incredible journey you've been in, and you've been diving into it, right? Hearing the noise, and you've been able to block the noise. It's not that easy to block that noise.
Oh,
And
it's definitely
people people often ask me, how are you able to block the noise? I'm like, just put my headphones and that's it.
not.
For me, that's literally what I do. Like, for me to, when I start diving into the personal development, self discovery, I I force myself. It's not I force myself. I put myself into situations or into places where there's a lot of noise, like real noise, not the noise that we're talking about from, but real noise. Like I will go to a sports bar, sit down, put my computer, put my headphones, and they'll be like, football season here is huge. It's people is screaming, and I'll be like, yeah, it's okay, and I'll be studied, and people say, how can you study with so much noise? It's not my monkeys, it's not my circus. That's
Mm.
the best way I can put it. But you were obviously, how how crazy it is if you think about it right now what you said. But like, I wanna say something because this is right here. But Swapna is here. He says, "Hi Jana, good to hear your story. Well,
Yeah.
overcoming the judgment is so brave." And I want to stop here. Thank you, Georgie, for saying that, because how crazy it is that we pay so much attention when someone, like, for example, there's 10 people, 10 friends of us say, I know you're really good at this. Like, oh, you're great, you're doing amazing, you're doing that. But there's one person that it says, you're not good at this. You're crazy. What are you doing? We focus so much into what that person says instead of focusing on the what other 10 people. It is so crazy how our mind works.
Yeah.
But you were able to even overcome that. And for me, that is really, really, really incredible. And congratulations for making that movement or that step, taking those steps that were able to help you become
Yeah.
the person you are today, right?
Thank
Yuli says, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing. As I'm just starting my coaching business, I'm having these internal thoughts too, and this is the great thing about this. Yeah, I know my clients are gaining so much from our sessions. And what do you? What is it like in this case? What is it that in your case? What is it that you were able to say? You know what? This is my purpose. This is my service. This is what I'm doing. But you still have this voice, but you were able to block it. Like, what was that moment that you say, like, enough is enough, I'm moving on?
you. It was not a moment, let's say, it was a process again, right? Because the awareness that I right now have, that this voice of my friend was tucked in my head, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that for many, many years. The awareness came when I started to get aware of this. Oh, I'm talking a lot of tricky things about myself here. This is where it started. And this has to do with for me, personally, for me, unlocking ideas of spirituality. I can imagine, or I can remember that when I read the book of Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, this concept, this idea that you are not your mind, and that there is a chatter, and if you find the moments where you get out of the chatter, that was the first time ever that I became the observer. And before I was the observer, I could not understand what my mind was doing there to me. I mean, in fact, it's us with negative belief from former times, right? But being aware that you can observe the story that's going on in your head, that was the first important step I needed to understand that this experience with my friend was still stuck in my head. And not only in my head, because my subconsciousness was working down here, and
Mm-hmm.
was because it was pain, it was hurt. And so it tucked it in here and in my head made me move away from coaching and move away from what I'm really in some ways good at that point, but I was not aware of it. It came with becoming the observer. And I can remember when I said to a friend of mine the first time, you know, I'm really talking a lot of critical things about myself there in my head. And he looked at me and said, well, lucky you that you finally get there. So he had, he was aware of it since a long time. But that's not the, people can even tell it to you. That is not the point. That you yourself need to get to that realization. And this
Mm-hmm.
is not the realization up here, it's also down here. in the heart, in the belly, because having this insight in the head, you keep it at a place where it can't heal, where it can't dissolve. Because you look at it and you examine it and you have a measuring stick there and you can write about it and you can explain about it. But if you don't connect it with, wow, how do I feel about that? You can't dissolve that. So this was a huge process. And so there was not this only one spot of saying enough is enough. I had insights of, wow, I get this is holding me back. There is still sadness for this. And that's a huge one. Shame, right? Because I felt shame about what this experience at that time. And a person that was so inspiring for me on this journey is Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown and what she brings out to the world around vulnerability and shame. Because, and what I found out for myself is shame is the driving force of so many other emotions, and also in a lot of ways, or a lot of, let's say, situations, cutting the emotions from our thoughts, bringing us to kind of an emergency mode for functioning. And I needed all these awarenesses. And then there was the shame coming and talking to me again. You're not enough. And after I had this positive, really, really heartfelt feedbacks from friends saying, thank you for helping me to get over my fear of heights, right? So a person that was not able to sit on the shoulders of a friend, she jumped with me from a pier into the water. And she said, thank you, that's huge, right? And that's where I told my shame, look at this, I am enough. And so there was the first step, but still there were struggles between shame and me and everything. So awareness, and this is why consciousness is my topic, right? If you don't have the consciousness, you can't unfold in the process.
It's everything you're saying. It's so powerful, and it's truly amazing how I always tell people my vision is bigger than my dreams, but I love the process more than result. For me, I'm always loving the process, and it's something that I learned to fall in love with, because in the process is for me what I'm finding who I really am. I'm not. Oh, I tell people it's not like my past experience. I'm not super proud of them, but I learned to carry them with me in the best way possible. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I'll be honest with you. And I tell people, every single decision you have made in your life until this point, it has been the right decision.
Yeah.
They say, how is that even possible? If it wasn't the right decision, you and I wouldn't be here right now. So it's always, always, always for me, it's about not stop questioning. That's one of the things that I did. I stopped questioning the process, like why this is happening, why, because I'm like, I can keep questioning. But the question is like, how am I reacting to that whole entire situation? You obviously keep talking about the little boys and all this, which is really, really, really amazing. And I wanna go a little different because there's something magical that you're doing, and I want to dive into it because you have you're working with some incredible people, and one of them was here last week, and I'm excited about to hear the whole entire project. But when I say Kim is here, it says like, hi, hello friends, thank you Kim for being here, appreciate it. Julie was referring to Brene Brown, obviously. Georgie says shame is such a powerful emotion, which is really true. Swapna says love the process. You always have to fall in love with the process. But Jana, tell us about your project. What are you working now? What is Jana working now? And who's your accomplices?
My partners in crime, you mean?
Partners in crimes, yeah.
Yes. So I'm really grateful for actually also the process that all of this unfold in. When COVID started last year, I wrote a white paper because I was aware of the fact that there will be people tucked in for a long time and might be not able to live out of self-empowerment or to be self-empowered, right? And this kind of inspired me to write a white paper on aspects how to, with several different aspects of consciousness, gain back the power of your life situation and get from drifting to steering in your life. And this is a combination out of my own experiences, out of the things I learned in my coaching educations, the 2 I did meanwhile, also out of my work as a change manager with people and companies. And so to just make a brief overview, this 4 aspects for shifting from drifting to steering are 4 pillars. The first one is care for your mind, right? As we just said, what is the talk in there about yourself, about the world? I mean, we have a tendency to get stuck in negativity. This is part of our DNA and evolution, but we can shift this. So this is one pillar, for example. The second one is access the wisdom within you and the wisdom around you. The third one is take ownership of your life situation, which has things in it like breaking out of the circle of concerns into the circle of your influence. And the fourth one is serve your body. And there are a lot of details in that. So I wrote that white paper. And honestly, I put it out there, but not with a lot of enthusiasm or whatever. I sent it to some people and it got a nice resonated somehow, but I wrote it and I put it aside. And then I did my really, really amazing coaching education in the Jay Shetty school. And it somehow, it just sat there. I didn't think about it too much. And I got to know very, very beautiful people on this journey in the school. And last October, when COVID, like the second wave started to come back, or second wave started, I got aware again of the white paper. And my intuition brought 3 amazing coaches that I got to know on the journey from the Jay Shetty school to my mind saying, oh dear, these are the 4 pillars, right? Because I got aware of offering this as a program, 4 pillars, 1 person to however many people is too much. And I also got aware of I'm a pack person. I love to work in a team. How do you write? Together is better, right? So, and it was just like that these 3 people came up to my mind, and the puzzle was there. And so I put the pieces together, got these 3 people on board. Luckily, they all are on board and are excited. And everyone chose their own pillar, right? I did not say, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours. I sent them the white paper and said, so you go and choose your pillar and see whether your choice is similar to what my mind told me. And guess what it was? So this is how we started. And we're now on the 1st of February going to launch a challenge. It is a concept mindset maintenance challenge. It's going to be 11 days where the 4 of us are going to offer very, very different aspects of all these 4 pillars. So there's going to be meditation for caring for your mind. There's going to be journaling your own story for becoming the hero story, for accessing the wisdom within you. There's going to be shape your body, serve your body with a lot of activity, but combined with mindfulness and the connection of your body being your bridge between the outer world and your inner world. There's going to be a lot of offers around time management, organizing, structuring your day, right? So we're really, really bringing together a lot of offers there to unfold all these 4 pillars in your life so that people can get to the point of yes, I get aware of how I can get away from the drift and steer my life. Be conscious, be aware. Yes, and Georgiana is just, I'm so happy that she's here because she's such an amazing soul. And Georgie is going to be the coach that will offer all the services around Serve Your Body.
Oh,
Yeah. And so the first 4 days, every one of us is going to introduce the pillar, what it means to us, what is part of it, and what will be part of the program. And then we will have an 11 days challenge where people can join in and just get an impression, or well, they will get the proof actually how much it will make a difference in their life.
mhm. This is really incredible what you guys are doing, and you obviously, like I said, you have some incredible people. I know them personally, Georgie. I know her, not in person, but thanks to this technology now we're able to connect in ways that we never imagined, or at least myself, I never imagine myself being able to connect with people that you right now you're in Germany,
Yes.
and it's just like on the other side of the world, and it's just so incredible what you guys are bringing into the table. And I want to stop here a little bit. You guys obviously bringing too much together, but for me, what I'm really interested,
Mhm.
it is the power of working together and doing collaborations. For me, it is really something that I always encourage people to do, and this is the reason why I opened this platform.
Mm.
Because for me, I studied Simon Sinek for 4 years, and I learned the skills of leadership, but I learned the power of working together. I can advance. Now I can articulate things that I couldn't articulate back in my sales life or sales journey when I was part of the sales department. But now I can articulate some of the decisions that I was making. I'm like, oh, I was always sacrificing myself to serve others. Now I can articulate that in a better way. Before I didn't know why, or I knew it was the right thing. I felt it was the right thing, but then I learned working as a team. And I'm always like, I knew the power of working as a team. And the reason why I'm creating this platform is so we can expand this journey together as a coaching, and how coaching can change someone's life,
Mm.
and how powerful coaching is, and how powerful is you working with someone and with several individuals, incredible people that you guys are putting together. And it's going to be so powerful, and it's going to not just help one person, but it's going to help many people around the world. And that is the beautiful thing, that you guys are creating something amazing. It's going to be so international, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, go for it.
There is another person that I didn't mention so far, because that is Sai, and Sai is our backbone, our technical backbone, and he's in India. So we're from India, we're from Germany, we're from Romania, we're from the Netherlands, and we're from the US. And we're reaching out. We're putting our services, our heart, and our purpose out there for the world, actually. And this is possible due to the technical developments that are just exponentially growing currently.
Yeah. No, this is brilliant. And Georgia, thank you so much for you helped me. I get to the awareness from which I build my pillar. I'm really touched by those words. Just by the way, Georgia and I, when we were part of I'm still part of the school now, the alumni. But when I was just like going through my process of the coaching sessions, Georgie reached out to me. And thanks to Georgie, I found my niche. She's the one that helped me like
Look at you
identify
two
my
there.
no, she's like to find my niche. It's just like I'm so grateful for you, because you actually helped me identify who's the people that I wanted to serve, and who I really wanted to be able to help in a different level. So it goes both ways, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like it's so powerful when we can help and support each other instead of blasting one another. I often tell people like let's so boring, help each other, and just share everybody's journey, because I think what you guys are doing is something incredible. Now, I wanna I wanna talk a little bit about consciousness and how you're bringing meditation into the coaching. That's something that obviously I know a couple coaches that they do in separate. They do in either meditation or they do in coaching, but you actually overlapping both. You make them intertwine. So tell us a little more about that.
Yes, yes. I, j- as you say, it started with doing both of them separately. I'm also meditation guide and coach,
Mm.
and as my coaching has a lot to do with getting to the subconsciousness, finding basic beliefs and these things, that it follows the flow in the coaching sessions that we do not always do, but we can come to points where I see my or receive, let's say receive my clients being in kind of an uproar. Can be a positive, can be a negative one. And they themselves might not necessarily be aware of it at that point, right? And these are moments where I, a lot of times, take a break with them in a way of, okay, are you happy to just try something out with me? And we do some breathing, we close the eyes, and then I reach out to something that has
Mhm.
been in our coaching session before. Could
Mhm.
be something that I want them to imagine, a situation, could be something that they themselves said about themselves. And I bring them with breathing, with calming down, with relaxing in a, let's say, meditative state. But that depends on the person, of course. Some go deeper, others are more on the surface. I can't say that I put them all in the deepest meditation, but with this stage and practice of getting deeper into meditation and then offering them again what was bringing them an uproar, they
Mm.
find a way to look at it from a calm stage. Because I always, the meditation technique that I guide is Anapanasati, which means it is just observing the breath, right? And by observing the breath, you can disconnect from the mind. You get into this awareness again of, okay, if I can decide to just observe the breath and go there, my mind gets me caught up again, but I can get back. So this is where people can unlock from what the mind is doing with them,
Yeah.
calm down, and then I can reach out to them with a visualization about the situation or something that was said. So that, and then in that stage, repeating that, and then asking them, for example, how they feel about it. There comes a completely different answer because they can observe,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they can feel it in a way, but they are not the emotion as well. They're not the thought, they're not the emotion. And so this helps to unlock some more things that you're not aware of.
Mhm.
I dived deeply into schema coaching last year, which is a fascinating topic um, that works with a lot of visualizations and
Mhm.
helps you to get back into aspects or situations of your life that are long ago and that build out some of your so-called schemas. And in that schema, you develop your basic beliefs. They can be around, I am a failure. They can be around, I am not worthy. They can be around, I am meant to be left alone. They can be around, I am existing to be, let's say, abused. But these are only the negative ones, right? Because there are a lot of good ones. I want to mention that. But for coaching, the
Mhm.
negative ones are the ones
Yeah.
we want to crack.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so this is where you get closer to this with visualization and meditation. And that's how I put it in there.
Yeah. I had to say this is really I do resonate a lot because I had tried. Well, it's not me that I try it myself with someone else, but I did try it with my coach. I remember, I do resonate because how powerful can that be? And actually, that helped me understand a lot. The fact that she was able to pull me out of myself, and she was really, because it was in person, it probably was more powerful. But the type of meditation we try, and I remember the very few the early stages where one of the things that she was fascinated, she's like, how she will ask me, and until this point, I don't know. I don't have the answer. But she will ask me, how you were able to pull yourself out of yourself. I'm like, I don't know. I give you an example. So we're doing the meditation, and the meditation that we usually do, because we try different. And the meditation that I remember, she's like, things that I could hear, things that I could feel, things that I can smell.
The
So
sense.
she'll go to, I what do you feel? Well, I feel the chair, I feel the chair, so I can hear. And I remember one time we diving into it, we're in the middle of the session. Then I'm like, can I do a meditation? I needed a break. I'm like, can we do one of those meditations? She's like, yeah, let's try this one. So she asked me, like, what do you smell? And I could smell it. Once I concentrate on the smelling, I could smell like how, like, the plants, because there were plants, and that the plants were closer to me. I didn't smell anything at the beginning, but then once I concentrated, I could smell it. And then what? Well, I hear this. She said, I hear this, and I'm like, I quiet myself and I concentrate. What I could hear, and I could hear a clock. I could hear the tick tock, tick, 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 and I say, I hear a clock. And she's like, interesting. And all of a sudden, yeah, we keep going. 5 minutes pass. We finish the meditation. And she's like, Omar, you say you heard a tick tock. You heard a clock. I'm like, yeah. It's like the only clock that is in this building, it is 3 rooms away. How in the freaking world you able to hear them? I'm like, I don't know. I just heard. It's like, that means you pulled yourself out of it and you travel. And I'm like, so that means I was able to quiet my mind.
Yeah.
I was able to completely quiet my mind, just pay attention to whatever I wanted. I'm like, oh, so that's what it is, the power of the mind. I'm like, so whatever I'm concentrating, I'm gonna be able to really focus on that, and I'm able to just execute whatever my mind wants to. And she opened up a door that I'm so in love and I'm fascinated, because I always like have those conversations in my mind. Sometimes I'm like, no, you're a little too crazy. But you know what? Those conversations are the best. Like, oftentimes those conversations are the best. I'll be honest with you. But some of those conversations gave me so much trouble that I don't recommend it. But I'm always looking for that thrill. Like I said, that's something that I crave, and looking for that thrill. And I'm so glad that you incorporating that into it, because it is so powerful to do it. What inspired you to start incorporating it? Besides you obviously try it for yourself, but what make it intertwine? What make it, well, yeah, what inspired you to make it part of your coaching practices?
Because I read about it in the literature that I started to read about schema coaching. And
Mm,
schema coaching, the core of schema coaching is getting, in some ways, to your inner child. There is, let's say, a sun child and a shadow child. And the shadow child has had a lot of bad experience in your childhood.
mm,
And thus it is the one that creates your schemas. This, be careful, you're going to be abandoned, these things, right? Um,
mm,
and this is the fascinating about thing about if schema coaching and this way of coaching, you can go back into the visualizations of your childhood as well, and you can go through them, and you can be the child, but you can also be a guiding adult. Depends on how you do these visualizations. But the crazy thing that happens, and I know it because I've been there and I made it, is you get aware of details that you haven't been aware of as the child that you have been. right? So you're in that moment. For example, I had a moment when I went back in one of these visualizations as a child and described the situation, how I feel and everything. And then after I was back, I was aware of there was so much that as a child in that moment I tried to be aware of, to do right, to make perfect. So and still I failed in the opinion of that child, right? So you take this awareness of this child way more intense back into your reality. And as
Yeah.
the adult that you are today, you can understand so much more what has been happening there. And
Mhm.
as the adult that you are, you can be compassionate with your child self. And this dissolves so much, getting to that place. Because in the end, it's not necessarily, I mean, it's good to have compassion from a lot of people,
Mhm.
but, and that's also an awareness I have from myself, is you can also substitute the compassion for yourself by having people around you that are compassionate with you. Right? As
Mhm.
long as people around you are, you don't have to. You can go on with a sledgehammer inside of your building and bang against the walls and against the roof. You can do that. You can beat yourself up inside if you have these other people around you. And I came to that insight actually when I was in a tricky moment of my life where I was abroad. I wanted to start a new life actually after I left the corporate world, went to Australia, wanted to make a shortcut, didn't work out at all. Things completely fell apart. And then I was at a time of my life where there was still someone who like where I wasn't completely alone, let's say it like this, but I was in a place where I got to know, okay, there's no one here that's going to have compassion for me. I guess it's my choice to have no compassion or to be compassionate myself. And this is how I figured out, gee, I postponed that. I gave that job to someone else all of the time, and myself was still criticizing me. Yeah, so this is how
Mhm.
you can get into a beautiful way of being compassionate for yourself without being in self-pity. This is a huge difference.
Yeah, no, this is brilliant. That is amazing. That is really incredible what you just shared. How self compassion can be something that I don't think we're self compassionate. I don't think we're so compassionate to ourselves. I think we judge ourselves so much. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
And I list myself like, I there's a lot of things when people just like, oh, you gotta talk. I'm like, I don't. But when somebody like, for example, like, oh, you somebody asked me a question. It's like, think about when you say like you're not good enough, you're not worth it, you don't deserve. I'm like, I don't talk to myself like that way. I really don't.
Mhm.
And then that person changed the question so much, and she's like, well, think about whenever someone make you feel you're not good enough. I'm like, oh, that I can tell you the day, and because it wasn't a deep meditation. It was like so deep. I could like picture everything, the teacher, the person, like every single person, and the time, the day, the smell. I was like, oh, this is really brilliant. So, but for me, it's like, what is the feeling, right? Like for me, what's the feeling? For some people, it's like talking to themselves, but for me, it's like, oh, somebody else made me feel. And those are, I call it blind spots because they are there, but we don't notice they are there, but they are. And so we need somebody else with some type of guidance. And I think that's what you're doing. You're bringing such an awareness in a deep level. Now, Alina here says, if there's a book that you recommend for the type of meditation, the stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah, I guess Alina is asking about a book about schema coaching, I
Yeah.
guess. And so far, the book, like the main book I wrote, Schema Coaching, is in German because it was in so this type of coaching in the way it is now was invented by this German, and I think it's not existing in English language. But
Mm-hmm.
schema coaching comes from schema therapy, and
Mm-hmm.
the basic idea, let's say like that, is also something you gain out of all the literature about schemotherapy. And so English literature in English language is heaps out there about schema coaching, schema therapy. So if you go to the handbook for schema therapy and these things, you find the main ideas of it as well, and you understand about what is the schema, what is the trigger, and what is from there your modus. And the modus is how you react out of that trigger, right? And all these things are in the book. So go for the handbook of schema coaching, schema therapy. There you find the main, the basics. And as a good coach, you also can anticipate from there, bringing things in your coaching practice. But please, 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 this is something that is really, really important to me. Meditation is amazing, right? And meditation in itself is not that complicated. It's very true. Anapanasati meditation is not complicated, but it's a huge responsibility for taking a client in a meditation that brings him back to an activating memory. This is also written in the books and everywhere. You will activate emotions there and everything. So this is nothing to try out with a client in a critical moment. If you want to start to work with that, be very responsible. And for example, maybe try and find another coaching client, another coach that wants to try this out with you, and that you might be both aware of what you're trying there. Don't. It's this saying of don't try this at home in a way, right? Don't do this with a client that doesn't know about what's going on.
Yeah. What is the name of the book?
One of the books is Hi Bear, is called The Handbook of Schema Therapy.
There you go. The Handbook of Schema Therapy. And obviously she says loving your insights on self-compassion so often neglected. I think we do neglect those. We're really good at spotting pain and feeling it, and we're not good at noticing the strengths and or potential in growing it, right? We're just the opposite. So this has been amazing. You're just like incredible person. I mean, obviously we're doing some things together, and it's fascinating for me to get to know you on a different level, right? Than the one we just exploring. But it's been fascinating. It's been amazing. The time went by. I just realized we passed 1 hour, which is really, really incredible. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. And before we go, is there anything that I haven't been able to ask you, or I didn't have the time to ask you, or give you opportunity that you would like to share with us?
Yes, what I briefly want to share is that
Sure, go for it.
I really love the fact that coaching more and more gets into corporate world as well, because a lot of us decide to leave corporate world, but face the facts. The world is too big. Not everyone can leave the corporate world in a way. And something that I really love to spread more as well is getting leaders becoming coaches as well, so that they have the tool of coaching as well for leadership. This will make a difference in corporate world. And this is something that has my heart as well. And thus I'm happy to start in a company for the business partners of this company, offering coaching workshops and coaching educations from March on as well. So, and every one of you out there, all the coaches out there, if you have the possibility to get our skills, get the magic of coaching into corporate world, do it.
Yeah, no, and I think this is really amazing. Like I said, you're doing a lot of incredible work. I don't think there's every single person that has come into here and to share their story. I'm like, where in the freaking world have you been? What? Like literally, I say this to every person. Like, where in the freaking world have you been? Like, why are you hiding so much? And because we can see the potential, and I tell people you got to play to your strengths. In this case, you obviously are exploring the corporate world. And I think it's really really great what you're doing, and is you're gonna do some incredible things. You're doing some amazing work, not just inside and outside. I think from both sizes of yourself, which is it's not that easy to do, because you continue to inquire in, and I really admire that cravingness that you have to continue to inquire in and to discover more about yourself. Not a lot of people has the guts, because sometimes they start discovering more, and they just like, oh, okay, I gotta go in a different direction because that doesn't feel so familiar, and you're gonna find things that sometimes not really great, not gonna feel really good about it. But those are the things that are for at least for me, I get fascinated. So thank you so much for making the time. I really, really, really appreciate you being here, for sharing your story, for being so open, and for encouraging us to continue to dive deep and continue to create a space for ourselves with consciousness and mindfulness. So I think it's really amazing. Thank you so much, Jana, for being here.
Huge
And
pleasure. Thank you very much, Omar, for giving me the chance to be here. I really enjoyed it. What is important to me to just say is it's still a journey. So I know about self-compassion and I can practice it. Doesn't mean that I'm there all the time. This is always so important for me, that people know this is a journey. No one of us is perfect. We gain the insights, we train the insights, we practice them, and still there are.
okay, I guess she left. She left me here. But I just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for being here. It's been wonderful. It's been a pleasure, and I hope Jana's story, continue to empower others, and especially us as a coaches, continue to empower us, because her story is amazing. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and hope to see you next time. I'll see you next Saturday.